Everyone, I'm here to give you guys an important message about the price of XRP. You should really pay close attention because I'm about to show you facts and proof that prove what I'm saying has never happened before in history. Okay, first, I'd like to talk about the role of retail investors or individual investors, because the amount of volume we are seeing is unheard of and keeps going up in both the stock market and the cryptocurrency market. When you really zoom out and look at the charts, it makes no sense at all. This is what I want to show you. I really believe it's very important right now. As we can see, small buyers are putting a lot of money into stocks and cryptocurrency right now. People bought a net of $4.1 billion, 0 cents worth of stocks on Monday alone. This is the biggest buy ever recorded. JP Morgan says this was more than $1 billion, 0 cents more than the previous high. By 12 p.m., retail buyers had also bought more than $4 billion, 0 cents. Also, retail made up a record 36% of trade volume yesterday, which is also something that has never happened before. This helped the S&P 500 quickly recover from its 1.1% drop at the start of the trading day on Monday. Right now, look at this picture to see how important this day really was. It is completely crazy when you compare that to almost every other day. However, you can also see that this happened again in 2021. It happened again in the early stages of 2020, during the pandemic, right up until the bull market started. We had a record number of individual investors or small investors. In 2022, we saw something very like this. This is what we see now in the year 2025. Now that this information has been looked at, analysts have come to a few different opinions. Some people, they're telling you that this is a very positive sign. Some people think this is a very bearish sign. Now, there are good reasons to think this is very different from what you believe. For example, everyone is looking at different facts. I want to tell you guys what I really think because I've been around for 3 bulls and bear markets and have learned a lot during that time. The bond market is something you should always keep an eye on. Just what's going on with the bond markets around the world. There are many important bond markets around the world. What's going on with the US bond market, the Japanese bond market, the Chinese bond market? We can see that the yield on Japan's 30-year government bonds has officially reached 3.15%, which is the highest amount ever. Japan was known for having low long-term interest rates for many years. They now have to deal with very high inflation, a changing policy outlook, and a huge 260% debt to GDP ratio. Also, Japan owns $1.1 trillion, 0 cents worth of US debt, which makes it the country that owns the most US debt abroad. Yesterday, Ishiba, the Prime Minister of Japan, said that things were worse than in Greece. So, things are getting a little crazy over there in Japan, and things are not looking good. The US is also not too different. There's no doubt that the US has a very high debt to GDP ratio. Russia and China, on the other hand, have a much better debt to GDP percentage. What does this mean? It means that Japan and the US are running their countries like they're about to go out of business, while Russia and China are running their countries like they are real businesses. That's a pretty big problem when you're not making nearly enough to pay off your debt. That's something we can all agree on. This is the reason some buyers are very scared. Now, there are also a lot of other things that worry me, like the buy now, pay later scam that's going on in the United States. We can see that what's happening is that people are paying for everything. What's going on now because of this? We can see that the famous buy now, pay later service Klarna just said that their loss for the first quarter of 2020-25 will grow by 110% to a total of $99 million, 0 cents. Also, losses on consumer loans rose to $136 million in just the first quarter. This is the same business that just said DoorDash orders can now be paid for with buy now, pay later. I'm going to remind you. So what's happening is that more and more people are financing things like the $30 0 cents delivery order that is being paid for by people. That's crazy. The number of losses keeps going up. They also said that this buy now, pay later function will be used by more than 100 million people. That makes no sense. I mean, I can see why people might want to finance a house or a car, but I think there's a big problem with the economy that needs to be fixed when people start financing small things like a chair or a delivery order. And of course, the main problem is that there isn't enough money moving around, so things and services are priced too high. And there are 2 major reasons why. First, your government not putting in place the right rules to keep things running smoothly with the currency. 2, There isn't enough money going around, and there are companies that are ripping off customers by charging 10x the price of their goods and services, making a lot of money while investors have to pay for their door-to-door deliveries. Those are two very important problems that need to be fixed right away. I think the Trump administration is doing its best to do this, but something needs to change with the companies that take advantage of people in the US. So this has led to a prompt that has led to some doubters, like Michael Burry. If you've seen the popular movie The Big Short, you know that the main character shorted, and he kind of became famous for making hundreds of millions of dollars doing that during the 2008 financial crisis. So this guy has come out and said that next year will be the worst financial crisis this country has seen since 2008. So that's why I sold 99 of my stocks. This was just made public a couple of days ago. He sold 99 of his stocks for pretty big gains. Like, he made a lot of money on that. And now people are looking at this. Some people will say, and they'll be right, that Michael J. Burry 5 or 6 times in a row, he's been wrong. He was wrong again this time about the US economy and when it will crash. Some people say that we should listen to him because he predicted the 2008 crisis. I'm going to let you guys decide what you think now. Do you think there will be a lot of killing in 2026? I do believe that the bull run will end in 2026 if we look at every previous cycle. Will it be a bloodbath though? I mean, that's up to you guys to decide. I think the crypto markets might be, that's a chance, but everyone has their own opinion. That was in 2026 though. It's still 2025 after all. That's still a year or so away, right? It's still possible to make a lot of money, right? So what do I need to say right away about the XRP price? That's what we're going to talk about now, right now. There are some crazy signs for XRP. The first one is the weekly. When I talked about the Stochastic RSI before, I went over that. A completely crazy sign that things are going to start picking up big time in the next few weeks. The daily Stochastic RSI also tells a very strong story. The orange line is about to start moving up above the blue line. Yes, and we've only had a few red days here, so there are a lot of strong signs that yes, we might see some very nice short-term price movement. One more very important thing, monetary supply, M2. We all know that the US is going to lower interest rates this year, right? There is no doubt that the United States has the best economy in the world when the money mill is turned on. China has a lot of money. Great Britain, pretty, money like crazy. Japan, you have a lot of money. All of them need to do this. But Japan might have a little change of pace because they are going to raise their rates after having low rates, but that's pretty rare in this space. Let's be honest, Japan has always had low rates, not so much in the US, right? For a long time, rates were very high in the US, China, and Europe. All of those economies that have a big effect on trade around the world are going to print money, which is what counts. That's what will bring money into the system. So yes, I think the floodgates will open as soon as the US cuts these rates. It is going to be complete chaos. There's mayhem like we've ever seen before, and the numbers don't lie. For small players, a record number of them are getting active, and that number will only go up as their debts decrease and money comes back into their bank accounts. Of course, both of those things happen